Imagine stepping into a room where over $100 million in success is shared openly. A room filled with practicing Muslim entrepreneurs that have done deals with the likes of McLaren, Arsenal, turned their back on investments by Jay-Z, worked with the A-list celebrities, and more. Sounds impossible, right? Yet we made it happen with Allah's permission, and I'm about to invite you into that room right now. At our last Righteous Rides retreat, these Muslim entrepreneurs got real, sharing their biggest lessons, being vulnerable about their toughest challenges, and sharing the raw truths behind their success. What you're about to hear is not just advice. Rather, it's life-changing, life-altering wisdom from a Muslim entrepreneur. With that said, let's dive in.
Breaking news just in. Muslim entrepreneurs from all over the world are flying in to join this gang. The suspects are driving Lamborghinis and Ferraris, plotting their next $100 million business ventures. They're racing, praying, and networking their way to success, with celebrities and investors joining the ride. They're armed with iman and ambition, but the most shocking twist: every move is 100% halal. If this isn't stopped, their influence will only grow. Do not click the link below if you see ads for this retreat. They only allow 7- and 8-figure earners, and if you fill in the form at the link below, you might get access.
What's discussed in the McLaren stays in the McLaren.
Who here has been to a mastermind before? Show of hands, please. Okay. So, the way that we're going to do it today, inshallah ta'ala, is that we're going to benefit from each other. We all have a wealth of experience, knowledge, resource, wisdom that can benefit someone else that's sitting inside this room. So the way we can begin this is, if we at the start just write a list, I'll take the list inshallah ta'ala of all the things that you guys would like to discuss. And ideally focus on problems that you might be facing, right? In terms of whatever it is that you're doing from a business perspective. It could be the mechanics, it could be the mindset, whatever have you. It could even be religious considerations around it. And we can take a list, and then what I'll do is I'll culminate that list in a way where we kind of bring together topics that are similar, and then we'll just go through it one by one and we'll say, okay, well, who here has dealt with this problem before? If so, how? And then we just talk. We just go back and forth. We have a conversation. We develop the conversation amongst ourselves so we can help solve each other's problems. And through that, organically, I think a lot of khair, a lot of wisdom will come, inshallah ta'ala.
So obviously going around yesterday night was very insightful around the room. If you have a business, you know, you can set up the idea, the premise, get some budget, build the brand, get it out there, sell your products, XYZ. If you have 2 or 3, you can potentially manage doing the same. But if you're leading multiple projects, so 5x, 6x projects, everything in different sectors, because I know there's people here also that have multiple projects going on. Tips and advice on balancing that with not getting lost in it. We talked yesterday night about money and business, and you know, of course it's important, and obviously Imam Saab told us as well about the importance of wealth as a man to provide for family. But how do you not get lost in that? Because you get so busy and now you're like, why did I sign up to so many things? Because it's taking away from maybe the real important things in life. So tips and advice on that would be much appreciated.
So my issue is I'm a one-man band. And I just come from a different recruiting generation where I've always sought, you know, hunger, you know, because it's easy to gauge, you know, the life expectancy of, you know, a partner or, you know, subordinate employee, whatever you want to call it. It's easy to gauge when you catch people in a hungry state.
Okay.
Right? So I think I've struggled with incorporating assistance because, just to be all honest and fair, it's hard for me to kind of connect with, you know, this generation because, you know, you run into people who want to get paid before they work. You run into people who, you know, who put prices on just consultation and all of the things that are not tangible and they don't amount to any type of progression. So I've been very stagnant in finding, you know, an avenue where I can start, you know, bringing on, people who actually help and assist me with the numerous projects that I, fortunately, I wouldn't say unfortunately, but fortunately spreads me very thin. And I would never say I have trust issues because I wouldn't allow no one to hurt me or hurt my business. But it's just very difficult finding people who possess the zeal to, take the long haul. You have a lot of people who, once they see some form of adversity, they want to tuck tail and run. You know what I'm saying? Or you have people who lack real commitment, and that could be very detrimental to a person's business. So, that's, and just like I said, yesterday I wasn't lying when I said I was inspired hearing so many, young entrepreneurs who built their brand, built their empire. I would definitely like to know how you were able to assess and procure your team. Because I am definitely, I don't want to say struggling. I'm just fearful of approaching it the wrong way.
Oh, barakallah fi. So recruitment, how to recruit good talent.
Yes.
Barakallah fi. So brothers, those who just came in, what we're doing right now is we're just going through all of the problems that we might be experiencing in our businesses right now. Make a list of it, inshallah ta'ala. And then after that, we will start to discuss how we solved it amongst ourselves. So, for example, Brother Haris, you might have the answer to that question. Since you built so many companies and you've recruited talent across various different, verticals within the business, you probably would know how to solve that problem. Likewise yourself, Sam, right? So that's basically the spirit of what we're doing today. We're going to solve these problems through conversation and dialogue here. So who else has a problem that they would currently like to find a solution answer for today? Yeah.
So following on from what Amir said, I've always kind of been like solo, as in trying to just do everything myself. I've had businesses, obviously I've hired a lot of staff, but I always find it difficult, it's like finding the right staff and like finding the right manager. More so I want to ask, like for those who have partnerships, like how do you assess whether someone's a suitable partner? Where do you find them? Like mainly for like the partnership side of a business. And I've always like, is it for those who have had partnerships and had their own businesses, what do you find is better? Working your own and just hiring staff, hiring managers, or like, working in a partnership or multiple partnerships with different people? What have you found, like over the years has worked best for you?
Amazing.
So, yeah.
Barakallah fi. Barakallah fi.
There's a lot of things, but I suppose the main thing for me in terms of my question would be, obviously in scaling to the next level, there comes, like you always have more and more to risk, So I want to hear other people's like decision-making process when it comes to evaluating certain decisions, how it can affect other things, and what certain protocols they use essentially before they make a decision. Like I said, the more you go, the more you scale, the more you have to risk. And of course we understand that everything gives and comes from Allah, but I've started to realize like the higher level you reach, your words become more expensive. You need to be more careful of the things you say, the actions you do, because ultimately you have more to risk and you're at a position of influence. So I want to know, as a leader, how do you deal with making those, decisions that, like if you say something wrong, like potentially thousands or hundreds of thousands on a bigger scale could suffer as a result of a wrong statement that comes out of your mouth. So how do you deal with that, inshallah?
Barakallah fi.
One of the major challenges I personally find is deciding which tasks are best delegated or outsourced as a leader, and which tasks you should retain exclusively for yourself, especially as your company or organization grows. I didn't mention yesterday we have another company, recruitment company as well. And these types of decisions come about every single day. What does the leader choose to focus the majority of his time doing? The ROI, the tasks that are most ROI profitable. And what is just simply him being a control freak and not relinquishing those activities to someone who maybe would do it with slightly less efficacy, but would get the job done nonetheless. And that would be able to free up your time to focus on more ROI profitable activities.
Barakallahu feek.
Obviously, everyone has like sort of different within their business, within their lives. They'll have different goals, like vision, ambition, things like that. How do you stop yourself like sort of looking at? Let's say I've set myself, okay, this is what I want to do. These are like this is the business that I'm doing, and this is how I want to like push forward in my life. How do you stop yourself like speaking to other people and thinking, actually that's good, or like maybe I should change my vision or change my goal. Like I should do like what they want to do. How do you stop yourself kind of like looking at like other people and kind of taking maybe even subconsciously you taking their what their goals are and thinking, yeah, actually this is what I need to do.
So basically, my biggest issue that I have run into, alhamdulillah, I have built many successful businesses over the last 10 years. All are within the spectrum of real estate. So I first started as a salesperson in 2013, then became a broker, hired, mashallah, 250 plus agents. Right now, we're the largest independent brokerage in Michigan. Then we opened our property management company. Currently, I think we manage over 400 properties. It goes up and down. Then opened my construction management company, started building houses, selling them. Then alhamdulillah got into title company. So all these companies have their own CEOs now. So I can inshallah help the brothers kind of navigate through scaling, management, team, partners, and all those things. But throughout those years, I was never on social media. Like I opened my Instagram account March of 2024, just five months ago. So prior to that, if you would Google me, just some awards would come up, some TV like channels featuring our office, those things would come up. But all my 250 agents would come up if you just Google my name, but you wouldn't find me, right? And the reason I was staying away because there were a lot of phonies and fakes in the real estate industry that was taking over social media, and I did not want to relate myself to those people, right? But until I met Brother Imran, so we have a good plan now. So my bottleneck was how to get into social media without coming across as that, I don't want to be phony. Alhamdulillah, I have real businesses. I thought I don't need social media. But now what I do is real estate development. I've been doing it since 2021. Right now in the US, I have 6 open construction projects. And since 2019, I have not touched interest in real estate, right? So that means we're all doing equity financing. So I would put 20-30% of my own money. The rest 70% are coming from investors. So I would raise money from investors through meetings like this, networking, shaking hands, connections, referrals, introductions. But social media is a big avenue. We all know the name of Grant Cardone. He has raised $4 billion just through social media, right? And his product is not even as good as our product, but it's just marketed very well. So that's where Brother Imran came in and said, inshallah, let's try doing the Muslim version of it, because our product is without interest. So my challenge is, alhamdulillah, is working on fixing those. But that was my challenge, how to get into social media and without being, because I don't really need social media. That's what I thought. But alhamdulillah, we're navigating that. So
Amazing. Barakallahu feek.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I have a similar problem. I think me and you discussed it as well too. Because for me, I think the highlight of my previous career came without social media. So I never felt the need to utilize social media. I maybe have a humble, maybe 190,000 followers, but they're loyal followers. Because I've learned, even in social media, people have amassed, manufactured, millions of followers, but they can't sell a T-shirt. You know what I'm saying? Because you're there for their entertainment. You know what I mean? If you're not making us laugh, it's like we don't care. They can't pivot from making a fool of themselves 30 seconds or a minute a day, and then turn around and try to sell something. So for me, because my journey, by Allah's permission, has always been consistent and sincere in regards to my intentions, I myself also want to find a way to utilize that social platform without feeling like I'm reaching, because I'm not, I don't want to feel like I'm over-asserting myself, because I won't, and all of those things. It is a slippery slope for someone who's been successful without social media, so I can relate to him, maybe not to the same magnitude of the businesses that he established, but as far as, having, a global presence with no social media, how would I be able to tap into that and further expand my brand and all of the things that I'm trying to do? Because even with the recruiting thing, I've been very apprehensive about just posting, anybody, familiar with front end, back end development, anybody code in these languages and stuff like that. Because in my mind, I think maybe that's a LinkedIn conversation. Maybe that's not for Instagram. Maybe, you know what I'm saying? I start thinking, but having no experience or no confirmation that is the right course of action, I've just been very apprehensive. But I also know that who I am and what I've established for myself of consistency and my character and those things, I know I'll be able to hit a vein. So I'm just, like I said, I don't even want to call it trust issues. Maybe it is, you know what I'm saying? But I don't really trust, asserting myself in a manner that's contrary to who I am, and then have to be stuck with that. You know what I'm saying? So that's one of my problems.
Right next to you.
Yeah.
The answer is
We kind of talked about it, but since he made you expose yours, I figured I just voluntarily expose it.
I mentioned at the start of my intro yesterday that I lost a few million last year, like liquid, and that took many years to build. Some people, mashallah, in the room might have made a few million. I'm talking pounds. Quickly, it took me a long time, and I invested everything into a business. And the context is basically that I had some investors come through, some of the biggest music stars of the world and biggest designer brands, and in the boardroom, my partner was worth 34 billion, and so we were silenced and management takeover, etc., etc. I won't bore you with that sob story. Now I've got some passion projects within our group of businesses that are very dear to me, that I strongly believe in, and I've got teams, and we're inshallah at the cusp of having the right strategic meetings with Brother Imran and some other people that we've met on the journey here, and we really believe in it. My main question is, what's the best route to take without giving majority share of your business to get the right financial investors involved? Not necessarily fully silent, someone that can potentially just open doors because of their influence, but they don't need to get involved in the day-to-day. So that's my question. The biggest issue I had was that the partner that came in, he was not a Muslim, he was a Yahudi, and just from the first meeting disliked me, and I knew then, the owner of this brand dislikes me, it's not going to work. So I ended up stepping away. So I'm very hesitant on taking anyone on, but I also know that financially, if we had a bit more in the pot, we could do some big things. So that's my question.
Just very quickly, before we get back to the mastermind, if you're watching this thinking you should have been sitting in one of those chairs because you've got the wisdom and the experience of a 7-8 figure Muslim entrepreneur, and you could have benefited us, or you could have received benefit from those that are sitting there, then you can still make it to our next one, which is on the 17th of December. Click the link below and take the space for the next Righteous Rides. There are only a few spaces left and very few days before we close registrations. We'd love to see you there. I'd love to learn from you, and hopefully you can learn from the others. I promise to make this the best one yet, inshallah ta'ala. There's going to be more business, more cars, more chilling and fun. We even have a private pool for you guys. So I can't wait to see you. May Allah bless you. Click the link below, fill in the form, and then let's get back to the mastermind, inshallah. Let's start with the thing that most people are most commonly asking for, right? Which is how to build a team, how to recruit a team that's competent and actually able to do the work.
3 or 4 stories I'll tell you guys. So I had a partner who, in one of the companies, he left the company. The way I found out that he left is through social media. Literally, he's a partner with equity in the company, and he announces on social media that I left this company, I'm opening up my new company, and he stole 10 agents from us. So that's one incident, right? That happened, a couple of years ago or a few months ago. Then another few incidents on the same category. Some of these agents that I have developed, alhamdulillah, from the beginning, they're literally nothing. They came, they learned the game, they went up there. So I had an active loan to an agent, okay? He said he needed $17,000 or $18,000, don't quote me, something around there, like less than 20, more than 10, more than 15, I think. So he said he needs this to close on his house. And as soon as he closes, he'll pay me back in 2 or 3 months. I said, sure, go ahead. Literally wired the fund while I was in Umrah in 2018. From Umrah, how, like network connection and whatnot, but he's like, I need this fund. I wired it from Umrah. 3 months later, he leaves our company, opens up his own shop using this money that I sent him. And he takes 2 years to pay me back. That 2 didn't pay me back, but I had to use one of the laws from 48 Laws of Power, pardon me, Sheikh. After that, he had to pay me back. Then
What was the law? What was the law? What was the law?
the law was like something along like, like puncture the reputation in front of people, something like that. I think Brother Mahdi can quote me, but basically let others know what they're doing and do it in a gradual way.
Okay.
So they're anticipating, man, a bigger bomb's gonna drop, bigger bomb's gonna drop, and you just, lethal injection basically, and then they gave the money back. But that money was not the problem. The problem was he took it and he opened up his own shop. He did not actually buy a house or do anything. Literally how people could be. Then there are a few other smallers. The guy took 10,000. Again, another agent. He said he'll pay me back in 3 months. In 3 years, he paid me $7,500, then left to another agency. It never comes in front of me or anything. Many stories like that. I own a portfolio of 96 unit rental company, like my own portfolio, like I think 96, 97 units right now. So whenever I sell one of these units, I use one of my agents, pay them full commission, like 6% commission to sell my own house. Okay, and I could have done it for free, like just for marketing exposure. Any agent from my company would just do it for free because they're getting free exposure. They have a listing, right? But I do it with full. So I do this with one gentleman because he came and he said that, hey, I'm in trouble. I need funding. Like I just got married in Bangladesh. Need to bring my wife. I don't have funds. Like, I was in 3 months chilling. Now I'm back to zero. I gave him 2 of my listings. 6% he closes, leaves to another agency, and then says, Sam is too big now. I don't see how we can relate to him. That's his reasoning to leave. So with all these, and there are like hundreds of other experiences that I have, I think I've learned a little 1 or 2 things about people. I'll just take my phone for the notes. So there's one billionaire, mashallah, he doesn't mind me quoting him. He's a dear, like a mentor, also a client. His name is Dr. Jawad Shah. He's at least $1.2, $1.3 billion worth of guy. He owns his own private jets. He actually flies scholars in the United States. Let's say they get stuck here, stuck there. They call him just to lift his jet and take it to a place. It costs him 30, 35 grand. But he would do that for the deen. He's that type of person, right? So when he owns 19 hospitals in the United States. He's a neuroscientist himself. You guys can look him up. So he mentioned to me, Sam, there are 4 paths to getting to billions. Because I asked him, how did you amass this wealth being an entrepreneur and a neuroscientist? He said there's 4 paths. One is intellectual property, which is you get something and you patent that's the word, right? You patent the property or whatever, and intellectual rights to a property. That's what I did, okay? He was talking about himself. Second is through equity in companies. Third is through real estate. But 4th is a sure shot way to billions, and that's building a killer team, okay? If you could do that, nothing can stop you. You don't have to have any of the above 3. If you know how to build a killer team, you are going to get to billions, right? And this is where also reminds me, BlackRock CEO, Stephen Schwarzman, and this fascinated me, like completely changed my way of thinking when I hire people. And that's where I'll give a little pushback to Brother Muhammad and the CEO, and I'll explain, or the Silicon Valley, the manager. So BlackRock CEO, Stephen Schwarzman said, I only hire 10s. That's it. If you're 9 out of 10, you're not gonna work for my company. If you're 8 out of 10, of course not. I only hire 10s and I expect results in 10s. That's it, simple as that. So a lot of the times in corporate, like what brother said, maybe it works in the corporate environment, but I'm an entrepreneur. This is my own money I'm paying out of. I cannot wait for you to take 7 days versus 2 days. You take 1 day. If it's supposed to take 2 days, you take 1 day or you're out. We have to have that expectation if we are entrepreneurs like Brother Mahad. Like, if you're a solopreneur and you're just starting, we don't have the luxury, okay? Now, if that means, so there's 2 paths. You either hire a killer, and also relates to Brother Amir, or you develop a killer. Now, if you don't have the patience to develop a killer, or you don't have the time resource, you just have to pay premium and hire a killer in that, like a killer person at 10, and the expectation has to be set like that. And there are killers like that, but you have to pay the big dough. Right? We have to do that. Now, moving on to a little bit of choosing partners, I think some brothers mentioned. After that incident, I only choose partners if you're bringing one of the 3 things, which is capital, skill, or contact. And it has to be undeniable. Like, it cannot be the capital that I think I could also bring. Like, I think I could one day reach Grant Cardone and get into his pocket. If I have this even like thought then you cannot come and I want to get you as a partner if your pitch is, hey, I'm going to get you grants money. Because in my thought, it is that maybe one day I'm going to get into his pocket, right? So you have to bring capital from a place that I thought like, okay, dude, you're hired or you have the equity, you're my partner. Or skills is undeniable. Like I have no idea how social media works, how any of these things work, how algorithm. I have no interest to even like learn. I'll just learn here and there, but I don't want to be an expert and become a master in that. So that's an undeniable skill you're bringing. Okay, equity, high pay, whatever you need, let's do it, right? Or contacts. Okay, you're bringing me contacts like that I cannot get access to. I'm gonna get you next. So there has to be clear like definition. What is that person bringing as a partner? Another thing, I think brother mentioned, or brother Mahad also mentioned, vision not aligning. Sometimes partners' vision being aligned is a little bit overrated from my experience. And let me explain to you how. Because most of us sitting here are visionaries. We don't need another visionary. Okay, we need an integrator who can integrate our vision. And mashallah, for example, when I went to Black Label event, I could clearly see who's the visioner and who's the integrator. There are two founders, co-founders, right? So Brother Mahdi is the visioner, and Brother Abdul Rahman is the integrator, and he's comfortable. And you could also see even here in the setup, and I could be wrong, like Brother Abu Bakr is the integrator, and Brother Da'uman is the visioner with the big vision, but you need an integrator. And you don't have to always see alike on the vision. It's okay. As long as the integrator trusts the visionary's vision, the visionary is the captain of the ship, taking the ship, and if there's an iceberg there, he will move. He's not gonna just dive into it. And you as an integrator, your job is to make sure he moves at that time, right? Other than that, you're just integrating all his vision into real execution and operations. So otherwise, if it's two visionaries, I had this for one of the companies, we always collided, man. Great, brother. And then we parted ways like in peace. And he also agreed, man, we're just two visionaries. And he has a complete different vision, I have a complete different, that's the problem. You don't need another visionary to partner up with you. You need an integrator. So these are some of the 2 cents I wanted to share.
No, barakallah feek.
Inshallah, it should help everyone.
You mentioned when it comes to hiring, it's 2 ways. It's basically to hire 10.
Yes.
Or to develop someone into a 10.
Yep.
Can you talk more about this one?
Develop into a 10, yes. So this is what I think we all have to do in certain phases of our business, right? So I had to also do that. So there are some non-negotiables we have to write down that person has to come with. For me, the values and principles are very important. Like they have to align with my values and principles. They cannot belong from the 4:59 p.m. club. Meaning 4:59 p.m., I have a stomach ache, I have to take my wife out, I have to do this. No. If you are of that mentality, it just has to be non-negotiable. You cannot be of that mentality. You go home when work is done. The time becomes irrelevant. Now, if the work is done at 1 p.m., 1:30 p.m., you go home. Whenever the work is done, that's when you go home. Like whatever needs to be done for today, needs to be done for today. So the values and principles need to be aligned. Another thing I do when I hire a person like that, and also goes back to Brother Mahdi's question, we have to micromanage until we trust. So this is how I try to build departments. There is no there will be some quality mistakes. I say, no, I'll micromanage everything out of you until I trust you. Once I trust you, I don't look back at your work. But I'm going to micromanage. When's your first dial in the CRM? That's how I used to micromanage my guys. Now I have another person doing that for me. Literally, when is your first dial? If it's 8:03 a.m., I used to feel like my blood pressure is going high. Why? The government allows us to call from 8 a.m. What happened in that 3 minutes? We lost, how many dials did we lose? So I have to micromanage you before I put you in that trustable position. So yes, micromanage until you trust. You have to clearly define your non-negotiables, like values and principles. One of the values and principles, they have to treat companies' money like their own money. That's a big one. I see, okay, you came in, we have to, let's say we have a small podcast room in the office. The guy comes in and it's gonna cost us 12 grand to do this, to do that. I was like, how many quotes did you get? Oh, 1 quote, but this is the best guy. I was like, no, then you're not the guy for this job. If it was your own money that you're spending, you would have gotten 3 estimates, 4 estimates, 5 estimates, haggle the heck out of everyone, and then that's it. If you got 1 quote, you're not treating company's money like your own money. So our values and principles are not aligning. So you have to write down your values and principles, and it could be completely different than mine. Once you write those non-negotiables, these are not skills, these are more like traits, right? You're writing non-negotiable traits. Once they have the trait, and like Sheikh mentioned, that kill mentality, nobody's gonna bring to my, that's his non-negotiable. Now the guy could not, skill you could develop on, but those traits, you have to keep hunting until you find the person with those traits.
The individuals that were untrustworthy.
Yeah.
At the time, did you consider them 10s?
Yes. So I spoke to Brother Mahdi, I think. So that was a big trauma I went through. Because I lost confidence in myself. I couldn't see face to my wife because I was like, everybody looks up to me. Like, oh, Sam never makes a mistake. Oh my God. They're scared in front of me to talk. They're like, man, Sam can read through my eyes, bro. I cannot BS my way around this guy. But this guy did. This guy successfully did because he was, staging a coup for a month. And I was
He got robbed. That's why it feels that way.
Of course, it really affected my everything that I was doing. After that, I completely had to pivot my leadership because it's not his fault. It's my fault that I could not read that, right? And things like that will happen. And that's why, again, I keep saying the same thing. I wish I was in a room where people were talking about this, right? How to foresee this? What are the signs? What are the signs your partner is cheating on you? Right? So it could be a spouse, it could be a business partner. There was a business partner cheating on me, and I'm such a I look like a loser, man. Like it's your partner sleeping around, and you have no idea that they're doing that.
The way you handle that, I've never been in that position.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And of course, I think everybody in here can contest that. Whether you born Muslim, started to practice, and the law started to work on your heart, and it makes you vulnerable.
Yeah.
When you're dealing with other Muslims.
Yes.
But I think that's my thing. It's it's one thing to be deceived by someone who has deception in them. But when you're looking at a person that you
as your brother,
deeming them to have no deception in their heart. Because it's happened to me. You know what I'm saying? I went through a lot of trial and error. I never did angel funding. I never did VCs. Now I've always spent my own money. Because I believe that when a person asks for help, you really need help. You shouldn't be like the guy, take money saying you need help, but you really helped yourself.
So what I did, Sheikh, after these incidents, these betrayals, you have to make rules for yourself. I'm very big on these non-negotiables, values and principles, and rules and principles for myself. So for example, when that brother took that 17K or 15K and opened up his own shop, the rule I made is I'll only give loan to people what I'm comfortable losing, and it's not gonna be even a loan. So you could ask me for 100,000. I assess your situation. I could literally counter you back. Hey, take this 1,000. You don't have to pay me back. And I have done that after that. And people just look at me. This guy is the worst kind of guy I've ever. I just asked him for 100,000. He literally tells me, I have done that. Take this 1,000. Hey, actually, you don't have to pay me back. And I will see if there's other people willing to help you out. Okay. So this is the rule I made for myself after that kind of betrayal. After the partnership betrayal, I'm still in the process of making these rules. But I think there has to be one mistake I made. There has to be a lot of family bonding. You cannot just meet a person. I think you have to, Umar radiallahu anhu's athar, you have to actually travel, know their family, know their everything, know their roots. Where are they from? What do they do? How's their family? How's their siblings, kids? How is he as a man with his wife? How does he operate? You have to know everything because you're actually signing off a pie from your pizza, right? So you have to know everything about the person.
To the point I spend more time with my business partner than I do with my own wife.
100%. That's the mistake I made with that particular partner, and then I learned that I should have gone out to more outings, more just up north somewhere, no cell phones, just talking like this. Yeah. There should have been more between me and the partner. Then I could have sensed some red flag, or maybe, and this is the Islamic way to look at it, maybe he would not have done what he has done. Maybe it's my fault. At the end of the day, maybe it's my fault that he thought he's not the right partner for me, right? So if I had probably traveled and spent more time with him, he would have no, Sam is actually, mashallah, it's great.
I just wanted to one more question.
Sure.
When you look back in the rearview mirror, on hindsight, when you replay the sequence of events that led up to that betrayal from your partner, are you able to see the lapses in the past?
Yes.
What are those telltale signs?
Yeah. So when you're, great question, brother. When you're running a very high caliber business, right, your inner circle has to be super tight, tight inner circle where you don't let anyone else in, okay? So what was happening is, alhamdulillah, even though we're partners, my trajectory, alhamdulillah, I'm an overachiever. Wherever I go, I'm just doing, alhamdulillah, Allah has blessed me with that, right? So personal gap between him and me was just increasing. And it would have been fine. He would not have gotten jealous or envious if we kept a close inner circle. We let too many people in that and whispered things into his ears.
Okay.
And that's what,
So others got to him.
Others got to him. Completely others got to him. Fast forward now, actually, he tells other people, I made a complete mistake. I made a joke out of myself. Because the 10 agents he left with, his agency is still at those 10 agents.
Okay.
SubhanAllah. And we have we keep increasing. So he sees that this was for nothing. But what the telltale sign is when you see my friend is hanging out with my enemy, you have to be concerned, man.
Yeah.
It's not like we're in a war zone, but it is like that. In business, it is like that. If that guy is my competition, I never have coffee with that person, and my partner has coffee with that person, then you're in a dynamic situation where maybe, but Imran can help. Like, Islamically, are you supposed to ask? And when you ask, he says, oh, he's a brother. I just met him. He says, it's just a brother. You know, are you going to stop me having coffee with my brother? It could be whatever. Like, you know, brotherhood is first, right? Then business. Like, what do you do? But these are all telltale signs now. So I create clear rules now. And if somebody doesn't like it, you're not forced to become take equity or partnership in the company. But these are the rules. Whoever is our competition, we don't hang out with them. That's it. Because, you have to keep a close circle.
There's another element to it. Certain people will never be betrayed. Even if the other person that they've trusted something with have the most terrible qualities in the world.
Yeah.
The most untrustworthy person you can imagine. There's a type of man that person would never dare betray.
Yes.
You see what I mean?
Yep.
And it's very important for people to know that.
Yep.
And to be, as much as possible, to be that guy.
Yep.
Because when you're that guy, people think twice before.
Yeah.
Because if you're not that guy, if you're the opposite, if you're on the opposite end of that man, then you'll have even people that don't have the traits.
They'll take advantage of you. They'll take advantage of you. Yeah. 100%.
Just to add a bit of nuance to that, right? Because that can cause a person to go left. If you look at the Khulafa, Abu Bakr radiallahu anh generally was the more soft, right? Between him and Umar, right? So at the time when Abu Bakr radiallahu anh was the Khalifa of the Muslims, the general of the army was Khalid ibn Walid. And Khalid was very firm, very firm. Some of the scholars, they mentioned the wisdom in that is because Abu Bakr was balanced out by Khalid ibn Walid. If Abu Bakr was just relaxed, radiallahu ta'ala anhu, and he didn't have a general that was leading the Muslim army that had that type of mindset, it could have thrown the scales off balance. Now Umar becomes the Khalifa when Abu Bakr dies. And who's Umar? He's tough, right? He's very tough, he's very shadeed. Khalid ibn Walid is the general of the army. What does Umar do? He removes him. Some people say he removes him because he didn't want the army to think that we're only winning because of Khalid. That's one reason, but there's a deeper reason. Look at the guy who he placed in charge after Umar. It was a guy called Abu Ubaidah ibn Jarrah, who was relaxed. Who was relaxed. He wasn't, you don't see that aggression from him. So they say that that's how you balance when it comes to management, is that you have the tough guy, right? But you also have the nice guy. Like the good cop, bad cop thing is one of the most effective things when it comes to this. Like in our company, Abu Bakr's the tough guy. Like Abu Bakr's the guy who pulled the trigger. I never pulled the trigger, ever. I would tell Abu Bakr, yo, I pull the trigger. Truth be told, I feel like that balance is necessary. So it's neither here nor there. But the balance is necessary. Otherwise, you will, if you have just that one approach, it will lead to oppression. And the other approach only will lead to you being oppressed. That thing about finding a pool of talent is something that we struggle with a lot. Now, me, brothers, I always like to preface what I'm about to say with this. I'm dyslexic, right? I struggle to read, I struggle to write. I also have ADHD, okay? And I don't have a polished background. I never had a 9-to-5 in my life. Now there's pros to that, there's cons to that as well, right? One of the cons is I didn't learn systems and processes. I didn't learn how to climb up a ladder. I didn't learn these things. I like the word you used yesterday, hustler, right? Because that's how we grew up, selling things in school and just trying to flip a few coins. But alhamdulillah, today, with the permission of Allah Azza wa Jal, I'm now I've now been able to attract an elite team. Like literally that word killer, it resonates with me so well. That's what our sales team is like. When it comes to management, that's what we, mashallah, got brother Abdullah. There's a reason why we got the brother right here. We're trying to slowly indoctrinate him and brainwash him into being our head of operations. As you said, you got to spend time with the guy, so we've got him in our villa. He doesn't realize being a set. Like, it's amazing. Like I sit with CEOs of massive companies who give me consultancy for free. I sit with CTOs of massive companies who give me consultancy for free. They find me talent. They send me talent. We recently, alhamdulillah, as I mentioned, just hired a brother who was in venture capitalism. He was a VC, sorry. And for Al Shaya Group, which is one of the biggest, Emirati families here. They buy and sell companies and so on and so forth. They acquire companies. He was responsible for looking at those companies and giving them an assessment, whether they should buy or not. He managed a website that was bringing $10 million a year. Idris, you know him, right? How have I got hold of this brother? Brothers, there's one fundamental asset that I believe Allah gave me, which is the brand that I built. That brand is so lucrative. Through it, I can sell. Through it, I can inspire. Through it, I can hire. I can do all of those things. That's why I urge brothers, wallahi, having a podcast, not just an Instagram page where you make videos, because there's only so far you can go with that. But a podcast is a place where you can own the discussion. Mm-hmm. If someone spends hours with you over 2-3 years, I'm in some ways so honored you used the word yesterday. You said you felt like I was your brother online. Yeah. But that relationship comes through spending hours with a particular person, right? And it builds so much trust. And talking about your vision. Because look, we're not integrators, as you mentioned, right? Or operators. We're visionaries or we're creators. Not all of us, many of us. You can relate to that, Mahdi, right? Fawaz. So people need vision. Every integrator needs a vision. Every operator needs a vision that he can fall in line with. There are opportunities all over. Why should he come and work with you? That's what you do. You own the discourse. You own the journey. You own the conversation. And you're that guy that comes out and says, guys, I'm going to make this happen, but I need a team. And then when you make that call and you place your trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the people will come. The people will come. Just like Ibrahim alayhi salam did. Ibrahim, what did he do? What did he do? He built the Kaaba and there was no one there. There was a massive vision. There was a massive objective. We're building a house that people are going to come and do Hajj from all over the world to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He built it himself with his son. He made the call. He said, Ya Allah, there's no one here. Allah said, make the call, I'll bring the people. Right? So he had the vision. He did the work. But then Allah Azza wa Jal brought everyone else. Right? So the parallel that I'm trying to make here with regards to the reliance upon Allah Azza wa Jal and dua, you can't forget that. But really having a podcast, and I feel like a lot of brothers, they join it a bit too late because they've seen so much success without it, but then they realize, wait, actually, there are people in my industry that are trumping me because they have access to these massive amounts of people through social media. You have to understand, like, the same way Instagram, right, is a place where you can sell e-commerce products. Andrew Tate also blew my mind when he said something. He said, the biggest dating app in the world is Instagram. It's true. Like, you can literally, appropriately, hopefully, find any girl in the world that you want on there and marry her, right? But likewise, it's a hiring app. Of course, you've got LinkedIn. LinkedIn's great. But I'm just trying to show the possibilities that are there. Now, I'm not even on LinkedIn. But guys that are on LinkedIn, they find me on Instagram because they come to me where I've built my presence. You see? So I believe that is something very important, like having an effective social media strategy. And not one where we're just creating content, because what people do is that they make content and they're like a headless chicken in the sense where they'll make content about whatever they feel is appropriate to make content about. But there's no vision, there's no direction, there's no strategy, there are no content pillars, right? There's no long-term vision about how I'm going to develop this discussion and where I'm trying to take it to. So I feel like that right there for me is like a machine. If I go right now, the same way I create funnels to be able to sell a product, I can create a funnel today for any job role that I'm trying to hire. I don't need to because already my network is so big, alhamdulillah. Just through my network, if I want to hire someone, I can make a phone call. Akhi, I need someone for this, I need someone for that, I need someone for this. And like that, I need a guy who, a front-end developer, back-end developer, someone who's got this, someone who's got that. Just through the network that Allah has allowed me to build, I can do that. But now when I get to that stage and I really want to start finding talent, really specific, I just create a funnel. And I just mention it in any one of my podcasts, and then the rest is history. So I feel like that's something that could really, 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 really be beneficial. The other thing I just wanted to home in on is, you know, the first hire, if you're a solopreneur or if you're on your own, it has to be that operator guy.
Yep.
That's got to be the first one. It's got to be the first one. And the last thing I'd mention is, I think you mentioned it, Akhi, you get what you pay for, bro.
Yeah.
That's fundamental. When I look at the people that I hired, the ones who had the passion, who had the energy, who had, you know, I trusted them, they had, you know, all of these good characteristics and features. All of that accounts for nothing when it comes to actual experience and skill, right? Of course, you want to make sure there's some foundational, fundamental values that they have, but those guys, they need money. And what I notice is a guy who's actually good, he's already got a job. Mm-hmm. He's always already got a job. So you've got to be able to make him an offer.
You have to poach.
Yeah, well, not necessarily even, but you just got to show him that it's better here. Yeah. That it's better here, right?
Match it or better.
Yeah, those are just my 2 cents.
I ended last night, and Sufyan, you asked me how I was feeling. I said I'm feeling emotional right now because, you know, coming to this new world, it's a new world for me, man, the UAE. Last year I was thinking of moving to Pakistan or Saudi, I had no idea. So I'm learning a lot. You know, I'll rewind back to Kentish Town days when I lived there, 2001 to 2004 in London, and I started my first sales job. So I was going to be a dentist. And then I went in, my dad was a scientist. He pressured me a lot saying, you got to do science. So just to make him happy, I did an undergrad in molecular genetics, alhamdulillah. So it showed that, you know, I could apply my brain, even though I wasn't the sharpest in school with books, but I just applied myself. And it kind of gave me that self-belief. If I can learn this and learn the cell and learn the nucleus and then learn what's in this nucleus and spend a year just on that bit, and I can get, you know, a bit of DNA and get the right enzymes to cut this, I can cut some DNA and fix it and glue it back together, then what can I not do? And I think everyone's got something in their life they can look back at and go, that thing, I blew my own mind by doing that. And if you can't think of it, you're not thinking hard enough. Everyone's accomplished something, whether it was even an egg and spoon race where you whooped everyone, yeah, whatever that thing is, if you hold on to that, it's that belief. And I think for me, some people think I'm deluded with the level of belief I have. I think my wife, mashallah, backs me a lot. When I go home and I'm like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this. She's like, you talk like you're going to take over the world. I'm like, listen, you know, some people dream while others wake up and make it happen. So I guess go back to that point of when you accomplish something, whatever it might be, that made you think, man, I smashed that thing out of the park. And then go back to that and then go, how do I get back to that again? Yeah, the whole point of why I was going to go into the clothing thing, I sat with my brother Mutta, who's in Riyadh. Mashallah, we've known each other a couple of decades now. And, you know, I said, you know, the whole thing with me was dream. I was telling Amr yesterday, dream, believe, hustle, achieve, yeah? Have your dream, believe in your dream. Again, that belief is from, I've accomplished stuff before, why can I not do it again in something else? And then you have to be consistent in effort. You have to find, obviously, a structure to scale business. And then inshallah you'll achieve. So I'll quickly touch on the team side of it now. You have to know if you've got, like, I'm not clinically diagnosed. My wife's 100% sure I've got ADHD. And she says you've got all this and that and the other neurological things going on. I don't know. But I think you've got to know your strengths and weaknesses, and you've got to know how to complement that weakness. So, you know, if you know you're the guy who's going to have your Abu Bakr, for example, on your right hand, you've got to find that guy. And alhamdulillah, you know, I've got my nephew Bilal, who I work with very closely, and he's got certain qualities that I can't. Monday.com, Slack, this one, that one, all these logins. I don't check emails anymore. Alhamdulillah, I've got 9 inboxes. I don't check an email, yeah, because I know that's not my strength to keep up with the amount of emails coming in. So I'm like, you process them, just tell me what's important. You book my calendar in, just tell me what's important, because I can't make those decisions. So if you know you've got a strength and you're very good at administrative tasks and, you know, seeing a project through to completion, fantastic. But if you can give a vision and have a team, and it boils down to how do you replace yourself? I don't think you ever can. if you believe in yourself that much. I don't know how you feel. You've obviously built, mashallah, an empire of your own, mashallah. But I think you'll always have to realize that guy's going to go 80% or 90% of what I can do if I'm lucky, yeah? If it's a blessing. And if you accept that, you can then build a team. Because you'll realize, look, it's not, especially if I like to have majority share in what I own, yeah? I want to be the owner of that thing. I'm going to have to lead the ship. Every car's only going to have one steering wheel. What are we going to fight over a steering wheel for? I'm going to have the steering wheel, but you're going to guide me. You're going to tell me, go left, go right, slow down, speed camera coming up. I need that. It's invaluable, but I'm still going to hold that steering wheel. So I think depending on your role in the company and what you're doing, certain ones I haven't hold the steering wheel. So in our IT, tech business and AI, they elected me, mashallah. My business partner was like, you lead this ship. I was like, no, I can't, because I'm already at bandwidth. So I'll just be your CBO. I'll meet with guys that know branding and marketing, and I'll help you grow the brand. But I'm not going to steer the ship at all, because again, know your limitations, I think, as well. So I think that's self-awareness, and touch on partnerships as well. I've had different partners over the years, alhamdulillah, and I've never had a really bad experience. I think the biggest frustration I've had working with people is probably having expectations that they're going to get to the level I want to get to and work how I want to work. If we do an 18-hour day, we have to do an 18-hour day. I try not to, I've got family as well. But if we have to put it in, we have to put it in. And so sometimes if people aren't committed, that's why I think partnerships, if you can do without, then do without. If you can run it yourself and build a team, then build a team. But if you need that support and you're like, I need someone at the right hand and I'm willing to give equity away, be it for investment, be it for help, and this guy's key to you, then fine. But realize that it will come with frustrations. And so many people I've met have had, they've been cheated by a partner, or the guy didn't turn up to work 4 days a week because I'm a boss now. And, so it's not always that easy. So I'd say if you can, try and do it solo, unless you're like me or you just can't, and you need that support network. So alhamdulillah, every business now have equity shareholders, partners, and very clear on roles and responsibilities, weekly updates, QBRs, like the works. We've kept good structure to get the frustrations out. And every week we can sit around and I'll cuss you if I have to cuss you in this meeting, behind closed doors, because I'll tell you how I feel. You've not been pulling your weight. I don't care if you're moving house, use the movers then, you know what I mean? So, I think that's, again, my 2 cents worth.
One way around the whole getting equity partners is just instead of giving away a share of your company, is just to give people profit share. Mm-hmm. That's conditional or time bound. Like if you want to bring on someone, you don't want to actually give him, say, look, I'm going to give you X% of the profit share every year. And that usually is enough to get people in. Yeah.
We usually do JVs, joint ventures, of the deals you're bringing in, right? So it's completely 50-50 share, but on the deals that you bring in the real estate world. So definitely.
The joint venture, that'd be like one just giving the capital, one doing all the work.
Exactly. Sweat and equity. Yeah. One's bringing the equity, one's bringing the sweat.
That I think is different to like actually having a working partner.
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
With that, even like for example, with investors, have you ever turned down investment because of the person?
Yes, absolutely. You have to, because if somebody makes your life living hell, it's not worth how much they inject capital into the deal. 100%.
So I think we touched on partnerships and recruitment, team building quite a bit. But the Harris had a question about getting investment and funding without the guys that are giving you the money, who are taking equity, actually getting involved in your day-to-day activity in the business, right?
So it's definitely a challenge, brother. And there is no, it's not easy. It's definitely a challenge. And that's why I'm also expanding my network, trying to expand my network into social media. Because like Sheikh mentioned already, this is where you control the narrative. And one point he mentioned about building his personal brand. Now people are coming to him. I don't know how many of you guys follow Valuetainment, Patrick Bet David. He gets 5,000 resumes a week. He does not have any job openings. Just 5,000 resumes a week.
Wow.
Because of his narrative. People who believe his, like the whole Christian belief, hard work, family unit, and all those things that he talks about.
Yeah.
People who relate to that just want to work for him. So that's where also I'm struggling with that, because that's always a struggle. If I may quickly mention one more thing on the shiny object syndrome.
Yes.
Very quickly. So Brother Mahad mentioned, right? So I think us as entrepreneurs, our biggest strength is shiny object syndrome. That's how we became all entrepreneurs. Then it turns out to be a weakness later down the line because you don't complete any bridges. You have like 10 incomplete bridge, and like we know, you don't get paid toll on an incomplete bridge, right? The bridge has to be complete. People can pass, then you get toll payment. So yeah, for the verticals, the way it worked for me is, of course, we cannot go outside of our industry, right? But within our industry, how do you know what should I do next? The best way for me, bro, that worked for me, have the clients ask you for it, right? So when I became, when I was doing my whole, helping the investors get homes, fixed up and whatnot, they asked me, hey, Sam, why don't you have your own property management company? Because we'd love, like, you already, source the deal for us. You do everything for us. Now we would like for you to manage the property as well. So there you go. And that was not one client, few clients. Then I figured it's perfect timing for me because I already have the clients, I already have the demand. They're asking me to do it. We launched our property management company. Then in our property management company, we're outsourcing the construction. Like, contractors would come in and work. Then the same thing after a few months or a year, they asked, why don't you open up your own construction management company, have your own contractors, because we trust you, you're the guy. And I think those guys are not doing the work right or whatever, right? So we opened up our construction management company. The same way, I think the verticals, the clients should ask and demand. I think similar thing happened with you, Sheikh, right? I kept asking you for one thing. And then he's like, I don't have that product, man, but I'm willing to help you, let's do that. I was like, no, I don't want help like this. I want like an actual, like a contract, like, let's get into business. Then mashallah, Sheikh approached with the whole social media thing he's helping me with right now. So I think when the clients ask you, you're doing a great job, and already you have a security that the client wants that next thing from you as well.
With regards to that shiny object, I think I agree with Brother Sam that, don't take it on if you can't take it on. And if you know you can't do it justice, then definitely say no, 100%. But you should be open to opportunities. And again, I always go back to the point of self-awareness. So an opportunity came to me the other day. A friend, he's an online influencer. He moved to Dubai and he opened a barber shop. So I went down just to shake his hand and congratulate him. Like, I know it's not easy to open a shop. Well done. He's like 23, 24 years old. We get talking, and the other guy in the shop's like, yo, da-da-da-da. So an opportunity was presented to me. I run, for one of the big family groups here that we've been mentioned tonight, I run this car brand and this car brand for them, and I do B2B and corporate sales. So between 5 and 50 units of car get sold to companies. So your company wants 20 electric cars, I'll supply them, and this is my region. I seem to get a lot of orders from Africa, and I can't fulfill them because it's not my region. I don't care to because I can't do the warranty. If I sold to you and you're a Dubai-based business, could you buy these off me and then register them with a Dubai plate and then ship them to Africa? Now, I know I can't do any of that just because of time. I'd love to, but even just to go and register them in RTA, I couldn't do it. So I know a guy who is passionate about it, and I did want a piece of the cake as well. So I said to the guy, look, I've got this trade license, I've got this activity already through the van company, so then I'll manage it so I know I won't get any theft or any deceit in terms of like the orders. The orders come to me. All I do is tell the guy the order, and then he has to go and liaise, clear, customs, buy, ship, export, etc. So I think with shiny object, you can still take it and not own it. So there's an example of something that I'm going to have a small part of the cake from because I have the relationship, but I'm not going to actually buy the cars, sell the cars, export them, etc. So you can just be involved or just connect the dots and even not take any cake as well, right? And still know that you're part of that journey.
Just Sheikh, coming back to the issue about the money, getting investors. Brother Zirir, I would have liked for him to tell the story himself, but there might be some valuable lessons in this. Maybe other brothers can take it as well. So he has this automotive SaaS product that he set up, right? So he, mashallah, tabarakallah, already has contracts with like 10 of the biggest families here signed. He just needs to execute them. The issue is he needs some funding to basically build out some infrastructure. I don't really understand the specifics, but he needs some funding to be able to execute those contracts. So now he's been trying to get the funding for a while, but a lot of people are very just kind of apprehensive. They only want to fund people at stage 2 and whatever have you. Before that, it's like let's see some results. So the Dubai government, they put together some type of a program. They wanted to invest in some of the biggest startups that are coming out of the UAE. So they had this massive team of people from all over the world that would come and vet all of these products and all of these startups. He made it right to the end. He was shortlisted in the last 10. And what they did was, for some strange reason, they decided to give 5 out of those 10 a conditional offer. They said execute to a certain level, and then we'll give you the funding that you need, which I think is $500,000. Now, the difficulty is that he needs the funding to be able to execute in the first place. So after spending, I think, about 2 years just trying to get this funding, trying to get this money, sitting with VCs from here and there, and this fund and that fund, and this was like the last big thing, and he was certain that I have it now. And it was a bit demotivating. So he mentioned one day he was in the shower, and an idea came to him. He said, because I have a massive network, I'm just going to go and sit with everyone, ask them to give me $1,000, $2,000 each. So I'm going to have $500,000 like that. So he started to do it. He'd go to some people and say, look, give me 1,000. They say, I'm going to give you 20, right? Because the offer is great. He's already got the contracts signed, ready. Like everyone can see it. It's a very, very promising investment. Now he just needs to speak with people. So this is you might say, is a bit of a long way to do it. But the thing is that everyone's got such a small piece of the pie, they don't actually have any real weight in the company. They can't really say anything. And I thought that was very effective. And it's in essence what you do.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. This is very effective, and also I think this could be scaled through social media.
And that was going to be my second point, which is that's literally just pouring the gasoline on the fire.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can raise 5,000 from if we do social media, right, brother? From 100,000 people.
Yeah. That's really interesting and insightful as well.
Yeah.
Where a lot of the things I mentioned, I haven't even mentioned all of them, I'm kind of putting it together. I'm trying to open one bricks and mortar in Dubai, and it's going to be like a wellness clinic. So nice salads, nice juices, ice therapy. I'm big into ice, so ice plunge, some retail stores, some clothing, some scooters, whatever. Experiential co-working place, call it. But from that base, the plan is then to scale D2C. If you've got a villa and you want an ice plunge, we install it. If you want a sauna, we install it. If you want a nice t-shirt in Riyadh, we'll sell it to you. If you want a scooter in Bahrain, we'll sell it to you. But from that base, so that's why the social media and that side is so important as well.
Yeah.
So, alhamdulillah, that's actually really, really good food for thought. Jazakallah khair.
Barakallah feek. Barakallah feek. Brothers, carry on enjoying this beautiful estate that we're in, man. Barakallah feek.
Alhamdulillah, we don't have much time. Let's enjoy, inshallah.
Subhanak Allahumma bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum.
I came thinking we were going to just drive some cool cars and have an adrenaline rush experience. It's been educational, it's been informative, and I think the energies in the room in the way of advice from business leaders has been invaluable. There's certain things I already thought about in my business and where the stages are, but I got a kind of affirmation, a confirmation even of maybe that's the way to do it or this is the way to do it. So I think definitely really good for a networking perspective with the brothers, and I'm looking forward to implement and also conduct now one-to-ones with a lot of the brothers I've seen and met on this trip, inshallah.
I was just sitting and listening to all of the experience in the room. When I think about it, there's like so many, different types of industries and backgrounds that people are from, and they all have different experiences. And to hear them weigh in from an Islamic point of view, that was really, really useful. So it's like even got me like developing a lot of my own thoughts about how to do business, how to manage my own career. So a lot of food for thought, and I feel like that's just invaluable.
Now, okay, that was a lot of wisdom and a lot of benefits. I actually implemented one of the things that Brother Sam Amin mentioned, and it completely transformed our business. I'm going to mention it in a detailed video in the future, inshallah ta'ala. Look, if when you were watching that, you were like, wow, these brothers are so successful, how do I get there, right? And you feel like the gap between you and them is massive. Well, let me introduce you to something called the Righteous and Rich Skills Academy, which is literally a place that we created where we give you those life lessons in terms of training and coaching day in, day out. We had a brother that made $100,000 in just 2 weeks on the back of just a few sessions, right? And we've had guys that have made their first $75 online. So, and everything in between. So if you're ready to start your journey towards becoming a 7-8 figure entrepreneur, and you already are an entrepreneur in the beginning stages or somewhere in the middle and you want to just upskill now, then the Righteous and Rich Skills Academy is the place for you. So click the link below and join us. We'd love to have you. Assalamu alaikum. Peace.